Hey everyone, I'm Jenni Rae Oates, and I'm a Nashville-based performance and business coach. And I just had the most amazing conversation with Kim Sorrelle. We talked about all the things. We talked about your upper limit. We talked about the power of the brain. We've talked about our stories and how to rise up with resilience whenever things and life knock you down. It is an incredible conversation that you don't want to miss. So tune into the show.
Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. You're going to be so glad you're here when you meet my guest. I am Kim Sorrelle. I'm a speaker. I'm a writer. I get to do a lot of great things in life, but my favorite thing is to meet people and meet wonderful people. And Jenni Rae, our guest today, is no exception. In fact, Jenni Rae, I can say, is one of the people who has had the biggest impact on my life. It has truly changed my life, and we're going to get into that later. But please, you're just going to love her. So, Jenni Rae, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm so happy to be here. So honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm so honored to have you here. You're a remarkable woman. Our viewers are going to find that out very soon. But I want to start early on. I want to hear about 8-year-old Jenni Rae.
8-year-old. Oh, wow. I don't even know if I remember much of my pre 10-year-old years. 8-year-old Jenni Rae. Well, um, I was the youngest of four kids. And, I think at that stage of my life, like just really vying for my spot in the family, like hoping, I was cool enough to fit in and trying to do all the things to get my siblings to notice me and probably being the little annoying sister that I was. Loved to play outside, play in the dirt. Most of my friends were guys. Um, I have a sister who's 16 months older. We were really close, like almost twin, kind of feeling close. So we always did stuff together, sports, you name it. But yeah, I was always outside, lived outside, literally built a lean-to out of sticks that I chopped to the ground. And I was like, I'm going to live out in the woods. And it was literally like 100 yards from my house. But that was me. I was outside all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So were you one of those that had to come home when the street lights went on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Had to come home when the street lights came on, but I stayed out as long as I could. I just loved being outside and playing with friends or neighbors or anybody or just myself.
Yeah, I grew up a lot the same way in this great neighborhood with friends really close by. So you'd go to a friend's house or they'd come over, but always outside playing kickball and all the stuff. And my mom hitting softballs at us and playing 500 out on the road.
I love that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is so fun.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
It
my
was,
word, I
it
love
was.
kickball.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so fun, so fun. They should
Yeah.
have. In fact, I think they're starting like adult
I
kickball.
think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and we love it so much. We literally bought our current home for the yard that had, I was like, oh my gosh, I can make a soccer field out of this. And my kids were young enough. I got two goals on either end of the yard. And then all the neighbor kids come over and we play kickball in our yard. And on Christmas Eve, we'll do soccer games and we still do it. So we're the only adults out there with the kids, but that's
But it's
8-year-old
so
Jenni Rae going, I'm still going to play.
right. Well, and so your softball, your skills, your soccer, your kickball, all those skills paid off for you because you ended up with a scholarship, right?
Yeah.
College.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did. It was a little bit of a rough road to get there. I got there, but um yeah, my sister was a Division I basketball player and my dream, she went to Alabama and played University of Alabama, 16 months older, but 2 grades older than me. So, I'm a junior as she's going off to this big university and I was starstruck and like, oh my word, I want to follow in her footsteps. She's 5'10, I'm 5'4. So I'm like, okay, I've got a long road here. But basketball was my dream. And everything changed in my world my junior year because I was a junior in high school with this huge dream of playing D1 sports. And I was on track, for basketball, I should say D1 basketball, until I found myself face down in the grass in the middle of a soccer game. And it was so jarring. I felt like I'd been shot. Something had hit me from behind, didn't know what it was, felt like I'd been shot, and I went into like full on I blacked out. They had to bring an ambulance on the field. They didn't know what was happening, and my dream completely flashed before my eyes. I realized I'd broken my leg. It happened so fast. A girl slide tackled me from behind, clipped me, and my right foot stayed planted forward. My entire body ended up the other direction that I'd been running on my stomach. And so it was a really severe break. So yeah, a lot of stuff shifted in that moment for me, like literally down to everything I'm even doing now, that I can point it back to that moment where everything changed for me.
Wow. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. I did not know this about you.
Yeah,
And
it's a
I thought
story.
I knew everything about you, but I did not know this. Holy cow. They had to be earth shattering. So tell me, because you're in a different state than me, so sports were different, it can be different seasons. When was soccer season? Was it fall or spring?
Yeah, soccer season, I'll never forget it. It was September, and that's part of the story. I'll never forget it because of the month, because I always used soccer purely as a way to stay in shape for basketball. Basketball was my dream. Soccer was like, yeah, I love running around this field for 90 minutes, love being outside. So why not? It was September. Basketball started November 1st. And that was where my dream was flashing before my eyes of junior year. Got to get recruited. That was the day where we didn't have cell phones. And my son's a junior now in high school. And the recruiting process is so different. He's an elite athlete, an elite runner, top 40 in the nation. And, he's got Division I schools just DMing him on Instagram to connect with him. And I'm like, oh yeah, we had to put VHS tapes together and mail them out to be seen. And like, how tenacious and, persistent do you want to be? But junior year, that was the year you got signed. So I'm like, oh my goodness, basketball, like what's going to happen? I've got this severe break. It's September, November 1st is the first day of practice. What am I going to do? So
Yeah. So what did happen? I mean, how healed were you by November 1st?
oh man, it's such an amazing, it was a marker moment for me. I call these moments in my life marker moments where I can look back and see that it's like a new timeline begins from that moment because it's so impactful. And the I was laying on the sidelines and, all this stuff's flashing before my eyes. But what was really happening inside of me was I was terrified. I was so scared. I felt so alone. And not just because of this break, I felt so alone because I'd been hiding a secret. And in that moment, I knew it was going to be exposed. And the secret was that I had a really severe eating disorder. I'd gone from 120 pounds down to about 85 pounds at this point, and I was putting two and two together. I knew I'd been clipped from behind. I probably would have broken my ankle anyways, my leg anyways. But I wondered, was it because of how weak I was? And the irony and the sad part of it all, which is why it marked me so much, was nobody noticed because I was what I call functionally dysfunctional. And I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but as a high performer, I found a way to get the thing done. I just would push through and power through no matter what. So nobody's really saying to this girl who can still hit the shot or make the goal or do all the things. Nobody's saying to me, stop. They're saying, go, baby, go. You're doing it. Right. So I felt like I had to keep this secret. So I was laying there just terrified and like, oh no, it's going to be exposed. But I remember what shifted it because that night I was laying in my bed, came home from the hospital, and I'm crying, and I'm just like, it's all going to go out the window. And this is how obsessive I was with basketball. I used to sleep with my basketball, and I had saved every single Wheaties box top for a Michael Jordan life size poster that was on my closet door. Do you remember these days?
Oh
Like there
yeah.
was
Oh
some
yeah.
people may have the one with his wings spread out. I had the life size MJ poster. He was my hero. And I rolled over and I remember seeing his picture. And I don't know how and where I heard this because, again, it's pre social media days, right? And we only had five TV stations: 3, 9, 12, sometimes 45, and 61. So I didn't get a lot of media exposure, but I remember hearing a phrase that he said one time is that he had already shot in his mind 1,000 free throw shots before he ever took a free throw on the line. And he said he had envisioned himself flying from the free throw line and dunking that ball. And I'll never forget watching him with his tongue out, seeing him do it, like literally as a little girl crying. And just something in me said, I want to fly. I want to fly like Mike. Like I want to be like Mike. And so I looked over and that came back to me. And I said, Well, where my brain has been used to sabotage me up until now, and it's literally destroying my life. It's literally going to take every dream that I've ever had from the time I was a little girl till now. It's going to go. Or I can use my brain like Mike, and maybe I can fly. Maybe I can envision myself being healed. Maybe I can envision myself walking out on the court November 1st with a basketball in my arms and being able to play. So that's what I did. Like every single day in bed, every night, every physical therapy appointment, I would lay in bed in the morning and 1,000 times I'd sit there, watch, like in my brain, seeing the calendar turn to November 1st, envisioning November 1st and me walking out with a basketball under my arm saying, put me in, coach, I'm ready. So November 1st rolled around and guess what happened?
Oh, that is so cool. So there you are with your basketball walking out. Probably people in the stands are going, what just happened? How is this even possible? The girl just
Yeah.
broke her leg,
Oh, it
right?
was crazy. It was mid-September and it was so Kim, this is how crazy it is. I can give you a picture if you want to like put it out there somewhere. But it was I won the 1998 Columbia Sports Comeback Player of the Year. Didn't even know there was such an award, but they framed it. I got this huge plaque. They said they had never seen an athlete come back that fast. It was so few weeks um, between the break and the end of September. It was like September 20 something to November 1st to like actually running, playing, cutting, basketball, right? Like there's all this stuff. So it was so powerful. It marked me. It changed my life and showed me the power of the brain, the power of the mind, and that again, once we can use our brain to our greatest advantage or our biggest disadvantage, and that how you think, how you believe truly does determine the outcome you receive, no matter what circumstance you're going through. Because that was the first of many face down, like Brene Brown says, face down in the dust moments of my life. And that was just the beginning of many of them, but it was powerful.
Wow. Wow. So you were 100% November 1. It's not like you were still coming back November 1. You were 100%.
Yeah, most of what I was working through was just mental. I was just
Wow.
having to work through the mental of I can do this. It wasn't physical anymore.
So what about the eating disorder?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had so many people ask, "How did you get over it?" And I'm like, I don't remember getting over it. I remember getting through it to get a scholarship. So that's the cool part of the story is I didn't get a scholarship my junior year. My senior year rolls around and I'm in a soccer game and a coach, I didn't even know there was coaches there watching this girl that I'd been assigned to guard the entire game. And I'm normally a forward, but I was playing defense on her. And after the game, they offered me a full ride to
Wow.
play. And I was like, wait, what? I literally almost had to like fix your face kind of moment because I'm like, wait, who, me? Like, this is how much like I identified as something else, someone else. And I was shocked. Like that girl went on to play. She went to play at Stetson. I remember like where she even signed because I was just like blown away that they wanted her and they gave it to me. So that was a shift for me of like, I've got to stop this behavior, but I didn't totally have the tools at that moment of my life, that chapter of my story to really get through the eating disorder in a healthy way. So the way that I see that it worked out in my life is I shifted one disorder for another, a more socially acceptable one. I went from an eating disorder, starving myself, to obsessive compulsive exercise. And as a Division I athlete, I got away with it for years. I got away with it for years until God gifted me a daughter 1 month into getting married and was like, okay, now we got to, like, I'm pregnant. What do I do? So that's
Wow.
whenever I really started healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for people who have an eating disorder, know somebody with an eating disorder, have been through, uh, gotten through or not gotten through or in the middle of it, do you have any words of wisdom, any advice, or like looking back, are there things that you do, knowing what you know now? Are there things you'd handle differently, and how would that look?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was not stewarded well in any way. It was basically, and at that time, there's no fault to anybody. I just don't think people knew how to handle it. It's like, oh, you're not eating? Eat. That's the solve, right?
Right.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, my body physically couldn't at times. Um, it's so much about identity. Yes, I would. I mean, I work with actually, I do some of this work with adult women and also like I've had some high schoolers or parents bring their kids to me. And yeah, it's so much identity. It's so different for every person. So if somebody battles that, it's not a quick fix where it's just like, hey, do this thing. It's really somebody helping you walk through questions to discover who you really are and what's the driver behind it. I mean, it was like fascinating for me when I started to discover myself and why I'd chosen that as my best option. Because as humans, we only ever do what is like our best choice, right? So
Right.
to me, for whatever reason, that seemed like the best choice available to me. So as an adult woman healing from that, looking back on it, I made a lot of sense to myself in my story. It was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense why I chose that. My
Yeah.
family didn't always have what felt like to me enough food. Like they would probably be like shocked that I ever thought that. But as a kid, I took on the responsibility of, well, I just won't eat. It doesn't feel like there's enough. Like that was one reason. But like nobody would have ever like known that, almost
Mhm.
like rescuing what I felt like my parents were going through was hard. So, and then there was things with guys and feeling like I wish my body looked different and all those kind of typical things, but everybody's pretty quick to go to like, oh, you're just controlling. You're just trying to control. But it's like for what? Like, sure, we all control, right? You
Mhm.
control, right, Kim?
Yeah.
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 We all do. We all have reasons for why, but it's the why. It's the why behind the what. The what is, yeah, you control. Cool. Why? What's motivating that? And that's what I wished somebody had just like sat with me to help me get through. I'm thankful I'm well on the other side of it. Food's like my happy. I love food. I just love food.
Yeah.
I
And
love
there's
good
enough.
food, right? Just enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there is enough.
There is enough.
We don't
Yes, that
have
was a
that
big one.
scarcity mentality anymore of oh my gosh, there's not enough food. I got to leave it for everybody else. And but yeah, and it has to go so much deeper than that for sure. Because I can
Yeah.
see that happening for a meal here and there, depending on what's being served, where you think maybe there's not enough to go around, but there has to be something deeper, like you're saying, behind the why you
Hmm.
justified it that way, basically, right?
Yeah. Well, you hit something really powerful, Kim, there. It's just the word scarcity, because I could see that thread everywhere. There's not enough scholarships. There's not enough money. There's not enough. I mean, and that played out for me for a decade, like from like 15 to 25 when I finally broke through that scarcity mentality and was able to build a business and hit my first six figures and like was mind blown at how scarcity was like such a part of my thinking. It wasn't just in that one area where there's not enough food. I mean, we can't just like we can't compartmentalize our belief systems, right? So everything felt scarce. So yeah, I don't know if I mean if anybody else resonates with that or if that's true for your story too in any way.
Yeah, yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, Jenni Rae, we'll dive into it, is I went to an event that you had
Mm.
that was absolutely amazing. I did not know what to expect. I knew you. I knew I loved you. I knew I'd love spending time with you. And I don't remember how many women were there, 8, 10 women, whatever it was, but it was just this perfect size group with these perfect personalities that happened to be put together, for these days. And one of the things that happened, I'm probably going to cry as I talk about this, so I'm going to try to hold it together. But one of the things that happened during that time, during our time together, was you had somebody come up to a hot seat and I volunteered because I didn't think anybody else was. And so I raised my hand and went and volunteered. And when I was 8 years old, my mom put me on a diet. And I wasn't the skinny 8 year old, but I wasn't a fat 8 year old. I was probably 5 pounds overweight, which as an 8 year old you see, right? But it's not, I'm wearing the same size dresses as everybody else is wearing, but definitely a little thicker, right? But I wasn't so big. But anyway, so 8 years old, my first diet. And I remember going home from school. I would walk home from school and my lunch would be tomato with a little bit of mayonnaise and then some sugar-free jello. That would be my lunch. And man, I just thought, wow, I guess this is what you do. But it gave me this weirdness about food. Like food to me then became something I had to hide if I was
Mhm.
going to eat it. Couldn't eat in
Yeah.
front of my mom. So I would grab a ding dong, a ho ho, and go in the bathroom and eat it.
Yeah.
Right. And it became this thing to me that was like I wasn't supposed to have it. Like I wasn't supposed to have it. And so I went from diet to diet to diet to diet to diet. Like my whole life has
Mhm.
been one big diet, but I've done everyone you can think of. I did Atkins, back in the day and lost some weight on that. And when I was in high school, I played three sports and I was fit
Mm.
because we would do the same thing. Like we would get in shape for basketball all summer long. Basketball was in the fall for us. So we would get in shape all summer long, run and play and whatever, because we did not want to die on day one of basketball practice. So we'd get in shape all summer long and then we'd stay in shape because basketball went into volleyball, went into softball, and then we'd run again. And then basketball went into volleyball, went into softball. So I was fit. And I look back at pictures when I thought I was fat. I thought I was heavy. And I'm literally like 120 pounds and I'm short. But I had a lot of muscle. I'm 5'2", but I had a lot of muscle. So 120 now sounds great to me. Back then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm only 5'2" and I weigh 120 pounds. What is wrong with me? And
Right. And it's
so
the era where the pants are like low rise and they're trying to like disguise your butt. Like now I've got these two girls where it's like all high rise and they're trying to show their butt. Like we grew up in a different era, right?
exactly. Exactly. It's so true. Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, so I never thought my body was great or anything, which I know a lot of people have body issues, but I had a food and body issue that stemmed way back to then. Well, I don't know how long I was in that chair, but I was transformed. Be, what you did for me changed my life. My attitude toward food, 100% different than it's been all 50 whatever years of my life from the time I was 8 years old. 100% different. And I now look at food as fuel, food as fun,
Mm.
whatever. I control food because I want to control food, not because I see my mom every time I eat, right? I was like, you broke me free. After all these years, you broke me free. No one's done that for me, Jenni Rae. No one. But
Wow.
you broke me free from that. And you are remarkable. Like I've never been through anything like the days that you had us there. And I know that's something that you do. I know you just have this genius in this area, but I had no idea how genius you were. And you changed my life. So thank you for changing my life.
Wow, Kim, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Like, oh, I had tears when you were talking because I'm just like back there in the chair. It's actually called the chair tool, like literally in the chair with you. And um to clarify, it was literally a half second from the words coming out of my mouth is, do we have any, volunteers to Kim's hand going up. So it was not, it was not much delay at all. Kim was hungry. And that's what I love to see is I can only take somebody where they're ready to go. And it was literally like half second because I had other people like, we wanted to raise our hand, but Kim's hand was already up. And that was less than 60 minutes. And it's never, it never ceases to amaze me with that exercise, how you had something since you were 8 years old. Your story is just heart-wrenching to think that you battled that for decades and carried that, and not just carried it in your heart and mind, but like in your body, your nervous system, like every single time there's food. I mean, when the food stuff is so difficult because it's so many times a day. So if there's a trauma trapped in our nervous system, every time we see something, we recoil. There's fight, the F's, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response that we have to it. I can't imagine what it was like for you living that many decades. So it just thrills my heart to know that in less than 60 minutes, you broke through that and have a completely different relationship with food, which is so powerful. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah. Well, It's true. That's so funny that you said that. I raised my hand so fast.
Oh, it was
In
fast.
my head, I was like 1001, 1002,
No,
1003.
no, no. I don't even think we got to one. Are there any volunteer?
It is so funny. Oh my
I
God.
was like, oh, she's getting a breakthrough because that was the fastest one yet. Everyone else kind of looks and they're trying to like, well, you can go. No, you. I love it when somebody's that hungry because I'm like, you're going to get a breakthrough.
Oh my gosh. And I did, and it was amazing. And I for years gone to parties and not eaten.
Mhm.
And just because I never wanted anybody to know how much I ate or what I ate or be judging of what I eat. And you know what I found out, Jenni Rae, after
Mhm.
spending time with you, after this big breakthrough? Nobody cares what I eat. I'm the only one that cares what I eat. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody's judging what I eat. Nobody. Nobody. And here I
It's
thought
so
I was
true.
living under this judgment, this constant judgment. My mom's been gone since I was 29 years old. She passed.
Mm. And yet
And
still had such
still,
a grip on you.
yeah, still living under this. And so, yeah, so it was a major breakthrough. And that's part of the work that you do. So I'd
Yeah.
love for you to talk about.
Well, I mean, you bring up something so important because I was just thinking in my mind, if somebody's listening to this, like I'm putting myself back in that place as a teenager, a 20-year-old, and I would hear people say things like, nobody cares what my food, what I'm eating. And I just so wanted to be there. I was like, oh, how can I say what Kim's saying? Like, I want to be able to say that. Like, how do I get there? And I think that's what just compelled me to keep going on this journey. Um, and it was really cemented in for me at 26. I had two little girls. We had a brand new baby boy named Hosea Nathan. And after a month of just enjoying him to the fullest, I moved him from his swing because we were being really, really loud that evening and moved him from his swing to his bed in our closet where he had been sleeping. Great. He was super healthy and something at, I'll never forget the time on the clock, 6:28. 6:28, I was chopping broccoli in our kitchen and I dropped the knife and something in my heart knew something's wrong. And I went sprinting into our bedroom. He was pretty regular scheduled eater and like at 6 o'clock. And I'm like 6:28. Oh my gosh, I lost track of time. And I walked in and saw him face down in his bed and he shouldn't have been face down. He's an infant. And yeah, in that moment, my whole world changed again. And Nathan did CPR to no avail. And that was it. I mean, it was the most surreal day of my life to like have paramedics and firemen in my house and follow them to a hospital without my son in my arms, be held in a waiting room, and then be brought back and to hear the doctor say there's nothing we could do for him. Um, that shifted my life. And it was 6 months later when I got pregnant with my youngest son now, Asher. And I remember when I got pregnant with him, that's when I put the stake in the ground and said, I have to heal. I have to find a way forward because if I don't, I've got three other little people that need me. And I will transfer every bit of this trauma to this little boy. And I'm like, not on my watch, not on my watch. And I was terrified like, am I even going to have him? Is he even going to make it? Can I even go through this again? Just all this stuff as a 26-year-old. And that moment changed everything. It was like, okay, again, back to that 16-year-old, the power of the brain. I'd already seen it. I'd already seen what it could do. I'd already seen a lot of shifts in like my eating and my mindset and understanding it wasn't just the food. So back to your story, you bring up an important point that I think would be so valuable if anybody's listening saying, this is me. Like I feel so stuck with something for so long is that we don't just, it's not just our brain and we just have to change our thinking. The reason we can't get through things and we're like, why am I so stuck in this pattern? Is because we have three brains that are really running the show. They're all connected. We have the head brain, heart brain, and the gut brain. And the thing that they're connected, science has shown us with the vagus nerve, which means every decision we make, like for you, Kim, like, am I going to eat this food or not? Right? Whatever decision we make, it's all influenced by what we feel, what we think, and what we believe. So there's no separating them. It's like, so we're trying to do all this work and like, let me just change my thinking and eat, or let me just change my thinking and get through this moment, this hard moment. But we have to do the work on the heart, the head, and the gut because our experiences in life have been hardwired into all three. And that's where my zone of genius is helping to unwind that quickly for people. Those experiences that have gotten hardwired into their memories, hardwired into their belief systems. I call it your internal operating system. And it's just what you operate on now because of life experiences. This has told you life's going to be this way, God's going to be this way, people are going to be this way, money's going to be this way. So you just walk through life believing it. So that's, I mean, those experiences have shaped me to bring me to this point of doing what I do.
Wow. Yeah. Losing your son, I know was horrible, horrible. I have never had to walk through that. I know, unfortunately, there's way too many people who have,
Mm.
and uh, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine the pain of that. And then the natural worries or fears that could come in, getting pregnant again and wondering if everything's going to be okay this time. And so many different feelings and so many different things. And there's so many ways you could have gone. You
Mhm.
could have just gone into a deep depression and stayed there because holy cow, losing a child, unbelievable, like a unfathomable pain. But instead of doing that, which everybody would have understood that, right? It's
Mhm.
not like people would go, oh gosh, what's wrong with her? No, they'd go, oh my gosh, she lost her son. But instead, you took that moment, you took that pain, and now we're helping so many people because of that, because it's part of your story and you know what you had to do. And so you know how to help other people. I'm always in such admiration of people that go through some of the crappiest things that you can ever go through in life and then turn it into something where they're helping other people. So thank you for the work you do and having the realization and figuring it out and yeah, so then and here you are, you figured it out. And yeah, so there's some people probably who have never heard that we have three brains. But if you look it up,
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
true.
common talk these days, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty common talk. And like, you get that feeling in your gut, right? Like you get this intuition about something and you're feeling in your gut and you got to figure out, is it a good feeling? Is it a bad feeling? Do you listen to the feeling? And so often we think we only think with our head. And so we ignore that feeling in our gut
Hmm.
that might have shifted us a different way, or that feeling in our heart that might have said, gosh, I need to walk away from this person or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or this business idea or this whatever. Yeah. And so many, it's so normal and commonplace. I work with mostly high, like what, who would associate with being high performers. And performance done differently is my jam. I love helping high performers learn like new ways to stay in that state of peak performance, but really not create suffering in their life, in their body, in their relationships, and all the things. And it's so common for a high performer to really, they've been trained from a young age to set aside their heart and their emotion. Like for whatever reason, I don't know what the story was growing up, right? The 8 year old. I love that you started this conversation that way because the behaviors that we're living out of right now, they were cemented in us between the age of 0 and 7. And then between the age of 8 and 12, we reinforced it and we collected, our brain collected data and evidence for everything we already believe is true that we learned between 0 and 7, just from observing our environment or things that were told to us. And so for the rest of our lives, we're just, unless we disrupt it, we're playing out those narratives. We're playing out that operating system that just runs unconsciously. And I love seeing high performers get back into their heart. And sometimes that can scare people that are like driven, they got to get stuff done. It's like, who has time for emotion? What am I supposed to do? Sit around and cry all day? Like, I've heard it all. I just spoke to a group of men yesterday. It was so powerful. I mean, business owners, founders making anywhere from 5 million to 150 million in their companies. And their mouths were on the floor. We were talking about emotions, emotional intelligence, and the power of the brain, and this connection of how their problem in their businesses right now, it's not the team, it's not the staff, it's not a business problem, it's not a relationship problem, even many of them struggling in their marriages. It's not even a money problem that you just need more money and then all the problems would go away. It's an internal problem. It's an internal identity problem. And that's the thing, like in our hearts, in our gut, like you were saying, our minds, like who we are, who we believe we are, it's so hardwired in there already. And so every decision we're making, it flows out of it. And you can hear someone kind of like talk about this, right? But it's like having the help to re-identify, like get really clear on who you are and what some of those, I call them your upper limit. It's your upper limit. Like that is the thing that keeps you, whatever you want to do in life, whether it's relationships or a business that you're building, it's most of us are like, we think we're resisting failing. Like I'm scared to try that or do that because I don't want to fail. But what I've found over the years is it's not even just about resisting failure. It's the brain's built-in safety mechanism to resist expansion. How
Mm.
crazy is that? Our brain has this built-in thermostat for success, and it says it's kind of set subconsciously when we're little, like 8-year-old Kim. You set that subconscious thermostat in your brain, and then your body gets hardwired into your emotions and your gut um, about what's safe. And it's like it doesn't feel safe to eat that food, or it doesn't feel safe to take this risk in business. So when you rewire your identity at the core, you you bust through that upper limit. It's amazing.
It is, yeah, yeah. I know firsthand how amazing it is. And yeah, it is so interesting because we are the product of the things that we've been told that we are
Hmm.
way too often. And
Or
then
that we observed we needed to be, right?
exactly, or we
Yeah.
observed we needed to be. And if you look at it, take a serious look at it, there are so many things that we're told that the things that you really remember, right? Like I have I went to high school after going to Catholic school. I went to a public high school, and so I didn't really know anybody. And basketball is the first season, and
Hmm.
so I start playing basketball, and we have games right away because you start, a month before school starts, and we had to wear dresses on game days. That was the rule at school.
Okay. That's how you stood
So
out. Like, okay, they got a game
yes,
today.
I
Got
got
it.
to get right, right, right. You had to dress up, so you're
Yep.
feeling good about yourself, or what for whatever reason they had us dress up. So I had a dress on, and I was standing at my locker, already a little timid, not knowing a lot of people, excited about the game, but whatever, still feeling my way around the school. And this kid came up to me, a grade ahead of me, came up to me, and he said, "Those are the ugliest legs I've ever seen."
What? Oh, Kim.
I know. So I will
Let me
never,
at him.
yeah, I'll never forget that moment. And ended up becoming one of my brother's best friends. And like I
Wow.
never had respect for the guy. Like later I was going, guy, this is on him, this isn't on me, but
But
holy
still,
cow,
it's in
what a
there,
thing
right?
to say to anybody. But you
Yeah.
remember, so that you have those moments in life, right? Those things that you remember that stick with you, that you can take on the identity of, oh my gosh, I must have ugly legs, whatever, or whatever is said. And breaking free from that
Mm.
is so healing, to know that you can break free from that, that those things that you can remember, that you go, oh gosh. Like I had my biology teacher. I loved basketball, loved it, loved it, loved it.
That's why I love you.
Tolerated volleyball and softball so that I could be in shape for
Yeah.
basketball.
Ah,
So
see, this
yeah.
is why I love you.
Yeah, but I loved it. But I'm all 5'2" of me, right? But I didn't care. Like I would work as hard as I could work. And I said to a biology teacher, I'm gonna make it on an Olympic team. And he said, you'll never make it. You'll never make it. And right then my dream was squashed.
Mm.
Right then it was like a wall. It was like, guys, should I even continue to work this hard? Like he's saying I can't even make it. And sometimes those moments can drive you to
Yeah.
go, I'll prove you wrong. But I think more often it can hold you back. So
Mhm.
how do you break free from those moments? How do you kind of change the narrative in your mind about
Yeah.
what those moments are?
Well, I have this process. I call it the rise factor because I'm all about helping people rise, as you know. Like rise up into who you are. Oh, I just love it. Nothing lights my soul on fire more than just seeing somebody rise up out of the dust or the stories or the past and all that. And the rise factor is really about, so many of us think that people that are successful or they seem to be overcoming really hard things, they've just kind of got this it factor. Like the rise factor is the new it factor because it's real. It's this reality. It's not based on looks. It's not based on good luck or like some people get it, some people don't. It's something that each of us can develop inside of us. And in order to be able to rise from things that set you back and knock you down, in order to be able to rise up after death and loss, which we've all had it, whether it's a person, a business, a dream, like you, the dream of the Olympics, like how do you rise up from those moments? And that first part of it is really getting clear. Clarifying is the first step. It's clear on who you are, getting that identity so rooted and so grounded and reoriented. There's like this reorienting that has to happen, and there's really five pieces of that puzzle, that rise factor, but they're really just character qualities. At the end of the day, they're characteristics that anybody can develop, which I think is so hope inducing. It's so hope filled because it's like, well, if some people just have the it factor and they just seem to make it through everything. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been knocked down, set back, like my marriage, we had divorce papers signed. I mean, we have just gone through the ringer like all of us have. We all have different things, right? Fill in the blank. And I just think it's been a fierce commitment to becoming the person who can keep rising. But there is practical ways you can do that. And so I did years of study on successful, happy business owners because that was a big thing for me. It's like I don't want to just be successful in businesses and so unhappy. I was so unhappy. My first three businesses I built, I was miserable. I don't know if you've ever built a business and felt like, I hate this. Like, right? It's
Yeah.
successful, but
Right.
like if it's at the cost of your soul or the cost of your sanity or your happiness, you're just like, oh, I feel trapped now. So I felt suffocated in what I built, this thing that was supposed to be the dream. So I just went on this journey of like, let me just study successful and happy business owners and see what qualities they have because maybe I'm missing something. And I'd been so focused on doing, so focused on what I needed to do, but everything shifted when I realized it wasn't a doing thing, it was a becoming thing. Who do I need to become in order to every time something happens, no matter what business it is, no matter what scenario I'm in, no matter where my marriage is at, no matter what's happening with my kids, I can rise up and I can have confidence that I'm going to be okay. It may not be okay, but I'm going to be okay. And that's the rise factor. It's developing these qualities within yourself that give you the fortitude and the resilience to keep rising up. I don't know if that answers that for you, but that's been my personal journey with it.
I love that. Becoming. I mean, that makes so much sense because it needs to get to your core and not
Yes.
the surface thing where you put on a face or you pretend that you've arrived or you feel great about yourself in every single way or whatever it is, but you become. But I love that. I love that word. I think it does make a lot of sense. It's an interesting thing how I think with women in particular,
Mhm.
I think men have it too, but quite often a different way. But for women, it's like we've been assigned this place in life. And so, is it okay for you to be more successful than your brother?
Mhm.
Is it
Mhm.
okay for you to be more successful than your dad? Is it okay for you as a woman to rise higher
Yeah.
than, or do you need to stay a little quieter?
Yeah, it's so good, Kim. I feel like so many women wrestle with this today because we have seen such a shift, and this is such a passion of mine because, and the question, one more is it okay for me to make more money than my husband? Right?
Mhm.
And in the process of rising higher and shining, so many of us have like tried to dim ourselves and not shine too bright because we are scared of outpacing or outrunning some man that we love so dearly in our life and that we still want to honor and respect. And that's the difference is there's this huge dichotomy that I see of women who are either like, screw you, men, we don't need you, and we're going to go do our thing, versus women who can truly rise up, take their place, take up space, and have authority and make the money, make whatever that dream is for them, whether it's somewhere in the hundred thousands, the six figures, or seven figures, multi seven figures, whatever that is in their heart, and getting aligned and clear on what that is, and then being able to own that powerfully while not emasculating the man in their life that they love or not doing it to prove their worth and value. And that's what I see so much of is so many women are exhausted, they're tired, they're giving up, they're throwing in the towel in their dream because the cost of the climb has been way too much. It's just too much. And so much of that is just it's not that the work is bad, it's not that the hustle is bad, it's how they're hustling. It's and they don't know why they're hustling this way. They don't know why they're so driven. And when you get down to what that is, it's always identity. It's always identity. And so shifting out of I call them the three toxic types of hustle. There's stress hustle, scarcity hustle, and trauma hustle. I built my first three businesses out of this place. And it took me, it was a journey to learn how to hustle healthy and let it come from a place in here. And at the same time, like still honor and love and, the men in my life. So it's a journey.
Yeah, it is. It is a journey. It's a journey, though, that you make happen in a couple days in somebody's life, which is so remarkable. And at the end, by the way, we are going to talk about how you can get in touch with Jenni Rae, how you can join a program that she's doing, how you can talk to her, meet her, all the things. Because me and Jenni Rae, I've heard a lot about internal work. I've heard a lot about, I've gone to a lot of seminars, heard a lot of great speakers. But the way you put it together, it's the whole package. Like sometimes I hear people talk on only emotional intelligence, or they talk only on
Mindset.
mindset, big word right now, right? Mindset,
Mhm.
mindset. But
And what
you,
does that even mean? Like, really?
yeah, it's true.
I've been doing this poll, like, what does mindset mean to you? And it's so, most people are like, I don't know. And they're like, I've done mindset work. And I'm like, well, what does that mean to you? And they're like, I don't know. I mean, I've listened to podcasts and read a book every now and then. Or I've been to a conference, right?
Right. Yeah, and they told me it's all about mindset. So
Yeah.
I'm doing
And I'm
mindset,
like, but
but I
wait,
don't know
your
what it
brain is the command center. You take it with you every single day. Like if you lifted a weight one time a month, would you grow a muscle?
is.
No.
No.
So it's like most people's understanding of mindset, even. It's just,
Yeah, it's so interesting. Kind of like yesterday, I was on somebody's show, and I was asked this question. I was asked, how does emotional intelligence, what does that have to do with love?
hmm,
Interesting question. In my mind, love has to do with everything, right?
mhm,
So whatever intelligence you want to call it, whatever, buzzword there is of the day,
right.
love never changes. Love is always there.
Hmm.
So even when it comes to what is mindset? Well, set your mind on love. And then you make decisions differently. You live differently. You show up differently for people, right? You're more
Yeah.
magnetic because people want to be surrounded by love. People want to be in the presence of love. So
Which
anyway,
is so cool. I just have to say, because your thing is love and there's Love Is, your book right behind us, right? You are like in that moment when you were in the chair, like you learned how to love yourself in a way you didn't even know you weren't.
mhm,
We shifted not just your mind about it, we shifted because you knew the things. That's the problem. Like so many people know, might even be like, yeah, I know the problem, or I know I'm thinking wrong, or whatever, but they can't break it. And you learned, it was really at the core what we did was you learned how to love that little person who didn't feel loved at 8, which is so powerful. You're right. Your message is love, and it all comes back to that.
yeah. Oh wow, that's so interesting. And it's true. And I've had a lot of self-confidence, but I think there's a difference between self-confidence and truly acknowledging who you are and loving yourself. Because
Yeah.
you,
And a
you
huge,
right?
Huge difference with the trendy, well, everything trends, right? So the whole movement of self-love and what we think that is bubble baths and candlelight things and, like a spa day. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not that. It's like, what is the upper limit thing inside of you that your body unconsciously is so hardwired towards that it is sabotaging your success? It is sabotaging your relationships. It's sabotaging your ability to enjoy being with people and enjoy food, right?
Right.
So it's not like self-love isn't just this like bubble bath. It's really truly going, how have I learned to loathe myself? Where did I learn to hate myself? And get down to that. And no bubble bath's going to fix that. As much as I might love them.
Yeah, no matter how many candles you have around.
That's right. Or no matter how many coffee dates you treat yourself to, or trips, or other things, it just won't ever fix what's actually going on the inside.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. And I think that is a hard thing to do alone. I think that's why we need
Yes.
to do that breakthrough for us
Yeah.
because like you said, I mean, I didn't recognize, I thought, oh, I love myself. I love
Mhm.
myself. But there was parts of me I didn't love. And I should love my whole being. I believe in God and I believe we're created in God's image. And as people created in God's image, God is perfect. And he created us to be exactly who he wanted us to be. And I think we're born with that. We're born with that, but it gets taken away from us, little by little, kind of chipped away, chipped away, chipped
Totally.
away. And to bring it all back together at whatever age, look at how old I am, but at whatever
How old
age,
are you? 35, Kim?
thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you almost double that, not quite, but but
You're gorgeous,
oh,
inside and out.
oh, you're so sweet. But it does take work. It takes work. But I think it does start with recognizing
Mhm.
that you do have this great value, that you are so much more than you think you are, and you're capable of so much more than you
Yeah.
think you're capable of.
Yeah. And you're right. It's hard to do that work on your own because how you're behaving is so subconscious. Like we feel things, think things, believe things, and they've proven faster than the speed of light. So it's like you're not going to be able to think your way to a solve there. Like there's no logic that you can just be like, okay, I can see this. It's all subconscious. That's why I said the three brain thing. It's so hardwired into each of those brains that it does take somebody else who's not being triggered by it. They don't have that same tripwire, like the explosion, right? That you feel on the inside when something goes off, but you're like, why does that get set off every time? So yeah, it takes that outside person to really help unwind that because it's unconscious for us.
And what an incredible thing when it is unwound.
Hmm.
It's just transforms your life. It's transformed my life because it wasn't just about food. You know this, right? Like
Right.
food was the big thing, but it wasn't just about food,
Yeah.
right? You want to speak to that?
Yeah, it's not just about the food. It goes back to so much about identity and so much about like if you don't, your story and just, some of it affects how you show up in your business. It affects how you show up around the men in your life. It is how you're trying to prove yourself and prove your worth, prove your value. It shows up everywhere. So it's never just the thing. That thing is a symptom. It's just a symptom. It's one of many. It's like whack-a-mole, right? We're like, let me just get them all down. Let me fix that thing. And we're playing whack-a-mole with our life instead of what I love doing is like, stop playing whack-a-mole. Let me just help you get to the root. And if you heal the root, you change the fruit on the tree. Like if you have a diseased root, you're going to have a diseased tree or you're going to have a specific type of fruit on that tree. But if you can get to that root, and it doesn't have to be hard and scary, and like some people are like, oh my gosh, am I going to cry for hours and days? And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, no. Like it took less than 60 minutes, right? And
Right.
it's life changing because when you have somebody that knows how to get to that root quickly, it doesn't have to be hard or painful or anything. Could be for some of us, but it can just be so quick, but it changes the fruit of your behavior, the fruit of the results of your life.
Yeah, so true, so true. And Jenni Rae, you are just the absolute expert at it. And people can look at you and go, "Oh my gosh, how did she ever think anything different about herself?" Because you're gorgeous, you're healthy, you run however many miles a day you run, like you're fit, you love food, you
I
have
love
the
pizza.
attitude about stuff, you help people. Pizza. What do you like on your pizza?
Oh, I mean, I just love straight up cheese, but I really love tomatoes and good, like good mozzarella and basil. Mm,
That is really good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a banana pepper, green olive,
nice.
pepperoni gal.
Love it. Oh,
Try it. Great
we're gonna go
combination.
get pizza this afternoon.
But it can look like that, right? Like you
Right.
got your whole life together, you got your act
Yeah.
together, nothing else happened. 26 years old, you changed, you had this realization, everything was hunky dory from that moment on. And it's not true. Life just has
Mhm.
bumps, and you've had some bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 26 on, man, it was just me now discovering myself, learning myself, and practicing. And it wasn't perfect. I mean, my oldest son or my oldest daughter, she watched my husband do CPR, and she was so young at that point, it created trauma inside of her. And I didn't know, I didn't have language for this stuff as a kid, and this stuff wasn't even like available to us then. And so yeah, it was a 15-year journey with feeling like I've lost two kids. Like she changed so drastically and so much. And so I just felt so out of my league as a parent. So you're parenting kids, you've lost a kid and you feel like I should be a perfect parent. And yet here I can't even like parent this one who just feels out of my league. Like she needs more help or support than I can give her. Um, so just always feeling like a failure as a mom, and then running businesses and then sabotaging them, honestly. Like building successful organizations, and then there was that upper limit in me that did not know how to expand, did not believe I was worthy enough to contain even more. So it's like, what was my thermostat? It was the set point. So then I'd go back, I'd start over. And I'd do it again and I'd get to the same point or a little bit further, and then I'd sabotage it back. So those years of business building were tough. And behind the scenes, I was just battling things with my husband. And the biggest battle I think there is when you feel like you have to keep the mask on, right?
Mm,
As women, I think especially we deal with this of just I've got to keep the mask on. And if you're a strong woman, it's that feeling I've got to be strong for everyone all the time. There's never a place for me to be weak or let down. And our business was so intertwined. We were making money together, all this stuff. And it just felt like I'm going to be the whistleblower who like causes even my family's finances to go down. So yeah, I mean, there's been problems all along the way. Like 6 years ago is when I really branched out and started my own coaching company. And even apart from him, and that was just such a big thing. It's like, again, what I was talking about, like, how do you be your own person as a woman, make your own money, like your own success, shine your brightest without emasculating or dishonoring and all these things. And our marriage almost like broke over it. Like we lost a son, and here we are. I'm going, how? After like you're my best friend. I never thought I'd end up here. I never thought I'd end up. We had divorce papers signed, notarized, our entire marriage like settled. And he asked for 60 days. Can I date you for 60 more days? So that process with teenage children, I mean, that was a whole fun thing of learning how to rise again and again and again. All these life experiences, they build so much resilience in us if we lean into them and let them do that in us.
Yeah, yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. And so there's other people that have been through so many things. And it's always, to me, it's always so wonderful to hear that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one dealing
Yes.
I'm dealing with or deal with what I had to deal with.
Yeah.
And then to see people shining on the other side and
Yeah.
know that it's okay. You're gonna get through it.
You can
You're
make it.
gonna
Yeah.
get
The
through it.
mask of being alone, it's worse than sometimes the thing itself, right? The
Yes.
feeling of I'm alone with this is worse. Like you have to hide it. It's so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's so true. It's so true. You are so wise.
Mm.
I love that you've done all this work so that now you're helping so many people with all the years of the work that you've done. And I'm telling you, everybody, if Jenni Rae has something going, sign up because whatever the price is, it is worth 10 times whatever she's going to charge. And your life will change. Your life will change and change in a couple days, in an hour, instead of this gradual, I'm going to go to this class for 6 months and then I'm going to try to whatever. You don't have to do that. It can be so much faster than that. And it can be just so impactful in every area of your life. Because I think often, probably not even just women, but people have a ceiling, right? That
Yeah.
they think that's as high as they can go.
That's the upper limit. That's exactly what I was talking
Yeah,
about. It's
yeah,
like the brain set point. It's
right.
not going to let you go any higher. And yet, deep
Yeah.
down inside, I think that 8-year-old in all of us knows we're meant for more.
Mm.
We know we're meant for more. We know, like, we have these things. We're like, why do I feel that pull to rise higher? Why do I feel that? But we hit that set point and we're like, yep, not me, somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. I think of the word selfish
Mhm.
and how, man, we're taught not to be selfish, right? Don't be selfish. Don't be
Yeah.
selfish. Well, selfish uh, often translates to people as you have to just do everything for everyone, be everything for everyone, and not look at yourself. Don't love yourself. Just give all the love you got, as if there's just one bucket of love. And
Yes.
when you give that away, there's none left for you. And that's not what selfish is. To me, selfish is you're playing with your soccer ball out on the field. I go and I take it away because I want to play. That's selfish, right? Or you're
Have you
starving,
done
you're
this,
hungry.
Kim? Did you do this as a kid? Do we need to talk about this?
Yeah, or like, the kid that doesn't forgot their lunch that day, and you have more than enough lunch to say, no, I'm not going to share with you. Why should I have to share with you? Well,
Yeah.
that's selfish. Loving yourself to me is the most selfless thing that you can do.
Hmm.
Because if you show up authentically if you are who you're designed to be, who you're created to be fully, completely, then you show up for everybody else in a whole different way.
Ugh, that's so good, Kim, because I mean, this is what the Rise Leader experience really is that you've attended. It's like, I love that you're bringing this up because so many leaders, so many coaches, so many people who are pouring out, right? That bucket of love. Like, I got to do it all for my clients. I got to do it all for my family and my spouse and keep giving, 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 and giving. They're not getting filled back up. They're not doing it for themselves. They even know all the things a lot of times. Like, I know these things, or I've done these things, or like we said, I've done a little mindset work, or I've done a little emotional intelligence. But truly loving yourself is keeping yourself optimized, keeping yourself running at peak levels. It would be like my son, who is this elite athlete, who
Talk about
just,
him for a second as you
oh my
go.
gosh, you've got to meet him and his cute little
Oh,
dimples, right?
I love him, love him, love
He
him.
loves you. He's like, when do I get to see Miss Kim again? You've
Oh,
become a surrogate grandma to them,
I
or
love
friend. I don't even know. They just love you. They thought you were so cool.
it.
Yeah, I mean, he is this runner who I have watched excel, not because he's out there. He works hard, but he does not ascribe to the way that we learned to hustle and grind and kill ourselves, and even as m many business owners do. I'm learning how to do even my business differently, watching my son grow, because he values recovery as much as he values the workouts. They are the workouts. They are part of the training. He values fueling himself with the right foods. And I mean, this is the kid. He's a junior in high school. It's 8:30 at night. And he's like, going to bed, guys. And we're like, whoa. He's off his phone. He understands to put his phone away. Like, he chooses these things because of the vision that he has for his future, what he wants for his life. So if anybody's listening and thinking, oh my gosh, my kid's so not there, this is the kid who we thought would never stop watching YouTube, get off the couch. And I mean, he played outside all the time, but just didn't have a focus. He was good at a lot of things, not really great. He hid, he wasn't confident all through middle school. He didn't even start running, Kim, until, I mean, he ran in seventh and eighth grade because they made him. They had to do a sport every quarter. But he went into his high school thinking he was going to play football, decided to go run cross country and try out, and said, pray for me, mom. I don't even know if I'll make the high school team. He thought he would just make the JV team. That first race, practice race, he beat 3 of the 4 seniors. And he was like, huh, maybe I can run. So he just kept going with it. And he's running national races now. He's got a deal with Hoka, the running company. He's got an NIL deal. So it's just amazing, again, to see when a kid is connected heart to who he is, his identity, his upper limit keeps going. Like, this is the kid who's going, I'm going to the Olympics. And I'm saying, yes, you are. There's nothing you have said you're going to do yet that you haven't done because of who he believes he is. So it's so cool, even as parents, right? He's our youngest. We get to mess up on all the other ones, and I'm like, sweet. He's the youngest. We got a few things right with this one.
You're so funny. You're so funny.
Oh my word.
'Cause you got plenty right with the other ones as well. Because
We
yeah,
did.
yeah.
And
Oh
there's
yeah,
always,
great
I'm
kids.
sorry for,
Yeah.
right? There's always the
Right.
power of the apology. And that's been so powerful with my other ones whenever I've recognized things.
Yeah, yeah, so true. So yeah, so you've learned from him
Yeah.
because it's not just hustle grind, hustle grind. It's not just you got to work 16 hours a day. You
Yeah.
got
A
to work,
day. Yeah.
right? 16 hours a day. You got to do more work on the weekends. You got to, put in hours and hours and hours. But our minds go,
Yeah.
like you think you're working 16 hours. Well, you're probably not at top productivity for 16
You're
hours.
not, you're right. That's it. You're
Yeah.
not at peak performance. And that's what he has shown me is like the quality of the run. The quality changes. And so I apply the same principles. He's always like, Mom, you have to do these runs slower in order to get faster. So my times have progressively gotten faster and faster and faster by doing most of my runs pretty slow. And then there's high quality faster workouts. Whereas when we used to train, it was hard and fast every time. I used to pass out in practice and they started laughing. It was just a thing. Like, there she goes. She hit the ground, funny. Like, and it was just as a thing. She worked so hard. She passed, she blacked out. So that's not the way he trains. And it's not the way I do my business anymore either. It's knowing like sprint, recover, sprint, recover, sprint, recover, hustle, recover. We have to have hustle. We have to work. Objects in motion, stay in motion, objects at rest, stay in rest. So it's not about not working. It's working differently and working aligned, working from that place of such internal alignment and identity that your work is so much more powerful. Your work is so much more effective. That's what I've seen in the last several years for myself, even in my business and how I show up and what Asher, my son's taught me. It's if you do the right type of work in the right way, then on race day, you perform so different. That it's easier.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And uh, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you understand who you are,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Like for Asher, he understands who he is. I mean, sitting down and talking to Asher, you 1 minute you think you're talking to a 70-year-old sage, and the next minute you go, no, he's a teenager, but he has all this wisdom that he actually applies to his life.
Yes.
And
And isn't that
he
what wisdom is?
Yes, and part of it is because he listens to
Mm,
coaches. He's not doing it alone, right? I mean, he's got to
no.
make the decisions alone and whatever, but he's got top people who understand the mechanics of running, the everything he needs to do, who have said, go to bed at 8:30, or, have given
Yes.
him, told him how to train and told him how to do things. And having a coach in life is so valuable and vital so often,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I've had one every year of my life since I think I was 26. That was when I got my first coach. And then like 27, 28, got in a room with a woman that was running events, 3-day events from a stage. And I remember sitting there, mouth on the floor, tingles all over my body, going, one day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do this. 28 years old. And here I am, decade plus later, decade and a half later, and doing that. But it started there. Like it started with me going, I need that. I don't know how to do that. One, I need what she's teaching, and I'm going because I want to see how to do that. How do I do that? And that's exactly what he does too. You've got to surround yourself with people that can take you places you haven't gone. I've always said if I see somebody that has a life that mirrors what I want, or they have something in their business or their whatever it is that I want, I'm going to hitch my wagon to theirs because they're going to take me faster. They're going to take me further faster. They're going to accelerate the process, compress the time that it would take me to figure it out on my own. And it's incredible. Like that's wisdom, right? Like we're not meant to do this life alone. And we really can compress the time that it takes because you're gaining all the wisdom of that coach and all the things it took them to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is again where you come in, right? Because now you are that coach, even though you still have a coach, because you believe, of course, you're always learning and you're always growing and you're always, making things happen. But now you've arrived. You in that dream, you've arrived. And so you are that coach for so many people and have changed so many lives. It's just, you're amazing. I just love you so much. You're
Thank
just
you.
incredible. Yeah.
I
So,
love you too.
oh, thanks. So if you were to talk just to the person who's out there going, guy, this is great. Everything she said, wow, go you, Jenni Rae, but I don't know that that can ever be me. Or my life is already settled. I'm already this age. And so what can I do now? Or, just it's something holding them back, thinking, um, she's talking about herself. She might be talking about Kim, but she's not talking about me. What do you say to them?
Hmm. I mean, first off, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's never too late. And somebody else can't convince you of that. You have to have a why that will compel you so much that says, I want to get past this thing that's kept me stuck for so long. And maybe the thing that's keeping them stuck is believing that it's too late. That was it for me for so long. Like, I mean, perfect example. My son passed away. He would have been 19 this April. And I'm just writing my first book this year. It'll be out in October. But what's held me back for so long is it's too late. Like I missed my moment. I saw people go through, I mean, we kind of have joined the club of people who have lost kids, and watch them write books and they're on stages and they're talking about it. And it just wasn't how my life worked out. I never felt this. I wanted to. I just never felt like I knew what I was supposed to say. And I battled for years, like it's too late. It's too late. I missed my moment. And this year I said I hired a coach back in October to help me write my book. And I put my money where my mouth was because I knew I'd follow it. If I made that transaction, I would show up for myself. And so I did. I said, I am an author today. As I paid that money, I'm an author. This book will be written and nothing's going to hold me back. So it's never too late, is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. So, people that want to get in touch with you, which is everybody, how do they get in touch with you? How do they find you?
Well, I mean, you can go to jennirae.com, JENNIRAE.com, spell it weird both ways, but, or on Instagram, Facebook, same name, same handle on both those, LinkedIn and YouTube. But yeah, I mean, and join me in this room full of amazing humans that are all coming for the same reason. They all want to break through some upper limit that they have, some success block. And success is a different definition for all of us, but that's what I even help you do. Redefine what success means to you so that you can get it clear and articulated in a way that allows you to align your life with that vision, right? My son is creating a success for him because he got so clear on the vision for the future that he wants. And so many of us are just living without that vision. We don't have that clarity. So I'd say get in a room with me. Let me help you.
That's right. I say the same thing. Get in a room with Jenni Rae. This has been great. Jenni Rae, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for joining us. And back again next week. So until I see you again, be blessed.